Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to an Open That Book Rich. All right, J.C. Leyendecker. The concept behind Open That Book, in case you don't know, is I have lots of books in my collection. Some get neglected for far too long. If it's been over a couple of years and I haven't popped through a book, then it's time to do it. So let's do it. J.C. Leyendecker, he's one of my favorite all-time artists, and I'm not just saying that. It's true. When I first saw his work, I fell in love, and he's. I mean, if I'm looking at comic book artists, fine artists, the whole nine yards, he's in my top 10 easily. His stuff is beautiful. It's very big, bold. Just his level of execution and drawing ability is off the charts. It's what we would call now cartoony at times. There's a sense of realism. It's very like boiled down. He can draw so well that in a couple of strokes he can just really get the illusion of things that are absolutely incredible. I'll get a little more into his history as we go through the book. But anyway, let me take this dust jacket off. I'm going to pause this for 1 second. Okay, so dust jacket off. This is what the actual inside cover looks like. He's really, really good with light. He's really good with everything. But I'm going to feel stupid actually even describing this guy's stuff, honestly. We should just look at it. I mean, he's so beyond my, like, comprehension in some ways that it's like it'll be very difficult for me to really describe things. But anyway, his stuff is very stylish. The big thing people will trot out was Norman Rockwell was really infatuated with Leyendecker's stuff as a young artist and went and met Leyendecker and really kind of wanted to be Leyendecker. So a lot of Rockwell's early work has Leyendeckerisms in it, and he was, a big fanboy, as we would call it now, of Leyendecker. Rockwell obviously became his own man. But interestingly enough, Leyendecker was the Saturday Evening Post cover artist before and probably working parallel with Rockwell, if I were to guess. Obviously, this is way before my time. But one interesting thing is, I don't know the exact number. I'm going to say that Leyendecker did, say, 365 Saturday Evening Post covers. Rockwell was respectful enough of Leyendecker's work that he actually stopped one shy of doing more covers than Leyendecker ever did. So that's how much he respected the guy. He let him have that, although Rockwell probably is the more well-known Saturday Evening Post artist if you were to ask just any kind of normal person. Leyendecker, I think, in some ways was forgotten through time, except for probably artists and more hardcore art fans. But there's no reason that he should be, but it's just one of those things, So anyway, that's no knock against Rockwell. If anything, it actually shows that he was pretty cool. Leyendecker was an unusual guy. He was very reclusive, so there's very few photos of him. He was a gay man living in a time when I don't know publicly like how acceptable that was, but anyway, he had his main model was his boyfriend. His brother, Frank, was also a very exceptional artist. He generally would sign his work FX Leyendecker. Both of them were great. Really, really incredible artists. It's just beautiful work. Like I said, it's so stylish. It's so nice looking. It's just got it all. It's got it all, baby. This dude was legit. So I first became aware of Leyendecker's work taking an art class of all things. Aaron Weisenfeld and I, if you know Aaron Weisenfeld's stuff, you can look him up online. He was not DC. He was a Wildstorm comic book artist. He did Team 7. He did Deathblow Wolverine. He did some black and white Deathblow stuff. Really good artist, and then now he's a fine artist. But he wanted to take figure drawing classes, and I just wanted to get better at art. So we went and took classes at Jeff Watt's Atelier. And we only went to like 2 or 3. But the first class that we went to, this almost looks like Frank's work. Frank's work is a little more detailed than Leyendecker. Leyendecker was able to streamline his stuff. This is probably an earlier J.C. Leyendecker piece, Joseph. who we're looking at. But Frank stuff would lean more towards this, where it wasn't as boiled down, had a little more detail. Generally, the layouts were a little bit different. Let me see. Okay, so this is a Wyeth piece. They're probably going through some of like either his peers or Rockwell. Rockwell's great, man. We'll go through some Rockwell stuff. I love Norman Rockwell. I don't go back to as much on Maxfield Parrish. All this stuff is good. What was funny is someone actually asked me about someone yesterday. I can't remember who it was. It was like a fine artist painter, and said this is a real passion of mine. I'm a huge fan. I really like. If you take me to an art gallery with paintings, I mean, I actually get kind of giddy, and really sort of it floors me. I saw. In Vegas, I went to the Bellagio Art Gallery when Steve Wynn's stuff was up, and man, I saw a Monet painting in person, and it just knocked me out. He had a Rembrandt painting too, and it was like, whew, man, it showed me how much I care about art, because it's like a presence in the room that's so enormous that you can't even believe it. It's like it's almost like this is Frank and JC. So Frank is on the left. That's JC Leyendecker on the right, and that's them at art school, or well, I guess that's their Paris studio in 1896. Let's get to the art. Charles Beach. So that was JC Leyendecker's boyfriend for many years. They actually lived together for years, and that's Charles Beach right there, looking at a piece that he modeled for. He wasn't always J.C. Leyendecker's model, just to make that clear. There's J.C. You can find a bigger picture of this. There's really very few photos of him. I would say less than 10 floating around that I've ever seen. All right, let's get to this. This is, I think, it's Frank. It's a portrait of Frank. Sorry. And we'll get to the big pictures. Let's just do this. All right. Sorry, it's a little... here's a Frank piece. You can see how his stuff is a little more ornate and detailed. You'll see when we get to JC's work. Man, this book is like stuck together. It shows how little I looked at it. I have the other Leyendecker book, which is an older book that I really would pour through. This has better reproductions, but this is a beautiful piece. So... as many Leyendecker fans will know, is he was kind of considered the arrow collar guy, whereas like Alphonse Mucha was, had his own sort of ad campaigns that sort of he did quite a few of. But yeah, so Arrow Collar was a clothing company in probably the early 20s, and Leyendecker created this guy called the Arrow Collar Man, and he became an icon, like a movie icon at the time, and people aspired to be him, and it just showed like how powerful art was at the time. This girl's beautiful. Look at the hair. So like the the Arrow Collar Man or Leyendecker Man became a real sort of thing that men at the time sort of aspired to be if they wanted to be dapper and on the cutting edge of like awesomeness. So what's interesting about Leyendecker's stuff too is you can see these strokes. They're very translucent, sort of bold, opaque strokes. So he has such a good eye for value and de-emphasizing things and form and all this stuff that he's able to go in pretty loosey-goosey, and you pull back on stuff and it works because he understands value, he understands form, he understands how to light objects, and it just all works really good. Again, trying to just get to the bigger pieces. So this is 1948. This is a little later. These guys were called upon to do a ton of work, so I'm not 100% sure how long it took for Leyendecker to do a piece. He was very methodical. He would do a lot of studies. I'm hoping there's some studies in this book. If not, we'll get to that at some point. I love the tone of her skin on this piece. It's just beautiful. The fabric, like the lighting on the fur coat, is just really stunning. I mean, it looks like, you ever see photos of like snow when the sun hits it at certain times of the day, and it just gets those beautiful like blues, and then there's those nice ambery like ochres in there. It's just nice, really nice stuff. Again, the lighting on this wooden staircase, and it just looks chunky and juicy, and like, look at this up here. It's just got like a boldness to it. The tassel And then this guy looking all suave and sophisticated. If I was around back then, I'd want to be this dude. He's got a hottie on his side. He's smoking a cigarette. He's all kinds of cool. He's like, yeah, whatever. Oh, and Leyendecker great with hands, too. His hands are very stylish. It's tough to learn Leyendecker hands, but he's bad to the bone with them. Look at this dude. Freaking stocky. That face. I'm hoping that's not his cup around his neck. Bro. Shows how much of a tough dude this guy is. He's like, I don't care. I'll wear it around my neck. Look at those hands. Crazy. But really, really just like, man, the planes on him and just the solidity and chunkiness of it. It's good stuff. The clothes. He's real good with fabric and like showing different densities of it and all that good stuff. Look at these dudes. Like, we're hanging out, smoking and talking about golf. Oh man, this is fun to look at. I haven't seen this book in probably 2 or 3 years. I look at his stuff online. It's not that I haven't looked at Leyendecker stuff in a long time, but I got this book. It feels like I honestly never looked through it, which is possible. And I know people are going like, what the hell? You got a Leyendecker book and you never looked at it? I have a Leyendecker magazine I've never cracked open. It's okay, though. There's a time and a place for everything. I'm on a track. My mind tells me when I need to see this stuff. And for whatever reason, it told me yesterday I needed to bust this out. So that's all that matters. So here's his studies. And this is what I'm talking about. This is how you do studies. All right? This dude he's pulling things out of his piece that he wants to work on. But yet, at the same time, he's incorporating them immediately into a piece. So it's dissection, and then reassemblage, and then awesome. Operation Awesome. That's what you should call it. Look at the folds there. Stuff is sick. But yeah, this guy was on his game. There's a reason that Rockwell was giddy over his stuff, because when you see it, if you haven't seen it, and I know there'll be people that don't know his stuff that are going to watch this video. They're going to be very, very excited about it. I apologize in advance for the depletion of your bank account getting this book. But other people that know his work know the score. But again, look how loose this is. Looks like a study for the piece. But it is really, really fantastic. I mean, it's just, man, the guy was absolutely amazing. I'm telling you, it's so easy to fall in love with this guy's stuff because he's just so good. Another study. But again, look how complete these studies are. And if you saw probably the full sheet, there probably would be more things isolated, like the hands on the actual finger. Like I could see him doing maybe the mouth on that, or the fingers on the buttons for the trombone, or whatever that thing is called. More studies. You can see he grids this stuff out. No projection. This stuff is all drawn. Again, there's some of that kind of crazy, like, speckled lighting that he uses. Very difficult to do. There's a few tricks that make it work for him. I'm not going to go into that right now, but, done wrong, it's just going to look like someone's got the measles. It's really cool. You can see how thin the paint is, though, that he's putting down. Because you can see the strokes of the charcoal or whatever it is, probably vine charcoal. Could be graphite. I kind of doubt it, because graphite comes up with the paint. I don't know what they used back then. Painters are usually pretty like technical people, so if there's anyone that's a painter here, they may have a better idea. This is a great piece. I actually, years ago, would collect the original Saturday Evening Post covers. They can get a little expensive, but I would actually seek out Leyendecker Saturday Evening Post covers and buy them, like vintage ones. So we've got a pretty big collection of those. But these books, the reproductions are so nice in these books, you really almost don't even need to do it. You could probably get this book for anywhere from $20 to probably $60. I'm guessing. I don't know what it really costs, but again, look at the light and the color. It's so cool. We're gonna only go through part of this book today because I don't really see a reason to rush it, so why do it? But look at how beautiful the fabric is on that guy's jacket. Isn't that just gorgeous? Look at the colors. Gets that like nice blue light on the guy's jacket. It's just so cool. I want to live in this world. That's what a great artist can do for you, is you want to go into their world. And that's why things that are heavily photo referenced, things that pull you out of the imagination that you're able to put into looking at art, that's a disconnect. It's a very, very delicate balance, and something that even really, really talented artists sometimes don't bring into their stuff. But Leyendecker creates worlds with the way that he paints, and it's very enticing, it's very intoxicating, it's very alluring. You want that in your art. That makes art interesting. When things are overdrawn and too spelled out, it kind of loses a little something. It's a very, very delicate balance, though, and it's like something that, it's just difficult to put a finger on. But some people have it, like Frazetta had it, and other people get really, really good and just don't have that quote unquote X factor. This is kind of an older piece, still cool. Sorry for the glare. Again, shiny pages, and you want it well lit for everything else. Okay, so. Man, this book is hard to turn the pages. They're all like, it's so crisp. Like I'm just going to go through these pages. Don't have bigger pieces. Sorry. Give me one sec. Oh, yeah, this is, actually, I have an original version of this ad. This is the cover of the other book that I have, if I'm not mistaken. It may be the couple on the stairs, but I kind of think that this is either that or it's the inner gatefold. That looks like Charles Beach to me. If I was going to guess, it looks like him. It's funny because my uncle, who I'm named after, actually looks like a Leyendecker guy. It's kind of funny, but he looks a lot like some of the blonde guys that he draws, like quite a bit. But he was killed in Vietnam at a really young age. I think he was 19 years old. But he was like a lifeguard and a star athlete, the whole 9 yards. My dad was the bad boy. He was the troublemaker, but yeah, his brother was like super, super good looking kid. And these get better. This is still kind of preamble to like, not that these are bad, but again, like, do you see that sort of very interesting, like, kind of speckly lighting that he uses? It's not, it's one of those things I wouldn't really recommend people trying to like emulate that. I think it's a difficult thing to do, and it can go kind of horribly wrong. I mean, if you're real passionate about it, you could give it a go, but I don't know how well that would translate into contemporary stuff. And again, wait till we get to the actual Saturday Evening Post covers. I think that this is a lot of ad work that he did before then. This is really nice. His women are beautiful. They're very like, it's funny because I've read things where people say that he painted women unsympathetically, which is an interesting observation. I don't personally find that. I think they're kind of aloof, and we're using a lot of big words in this video. Leyendecker, he's taking me to an interesting place. But anyway, I've always found his women actually pretty attractive. There's a gentleness to them that I like. Man, this is so good. God dang. This guy's a beast. Look at the jacket. Bam. I've had friends go and see this stuff. Oh, no, my camera rotated. I had friends go see his stuff in person, and they sent me some pretty detailed photos of the paintings. And as nice as this book is, and this book is actually great reproductions, it's pretty staggering to actually see detailed photos. You look around online, you can actually find some too. Although Google image search sucks now. They changed it about a month ago, and it's just not as good as it used to be, unfortunately. I think we're missing a page. Give me one sec. Yeah, more of the arrow collar, man. I love this girl's outfit. It's beautiful, and he did this like real nice sort of, I don't know if you call it lace or whatever, that the kind of dangly stuff, and then that pattern stuff is just really, really beautiful. But I love the colors up here. Again, very elegant. I don't really find, I think there's a distance to some of his characters, but it also kind of tells a little bit of a story, Really, really cool. I like the flower, I like the lighting on it. So good. This guy's so good. So let's see. We're gonna go like 20 more seconds. We'll go 2 more pages, and then I'll do a part 2 of this. And again, we're going to get to the crazy, crazy good stuff when we get into the Saturday Evening Post covers, and there's a ton of them. Really nice face right there. The jacket is really nice. Just the clothes. Look at that. Man alive. Great hands. Again, great hands. You can see, I actually mentioned it in the Bern Hogarth video, but like Leyendecker's hands have a mass to them, meaning that there's a understructure that you feel. You can feel flesh on them and also muscle, and that's why they're well executed. Is you kind of get it all. Looks like a study. Pretty cool. Actually reminds me a little of like Toulouse-Lautrec. Okay, so we'll end on this page. Beautiful dog. Where do you see this dog coming from down below? Again, jacket is just killer. Look at this, man. Dude went nuts. Look how stylish the strokes are on the dog. It's like psychedelic doggy. But, you know, you pull back and look at it, and it just works. Very, very hard to emulate what this guy does. Very hard. The application of paint on this jacket is actually really, really cool. That is very, very thin paint. And it works. It looks really good. Translucency. Hello. He did all the lettering, too, on the pieces. It's very, very cool. This is great. Okay, we're going to end it there. Smash the like for Leyendecker. Telling you, you're going to fall in love again. Wait till we do the next episode. It's going to be even better. Look at the jockey's jacket. Man, that is insane. The hand on the cane. The hand on that guy's back. His shoes. Leyendecker had it all. All right, I will talk to you all later with more Leyendecker. This is going to be at least a 3-parter. It may be 4. So hold on tight. Thank you. Bye.